What is up? It is your boy, Jack Manley here, and today we're going to be talking about my story. It's pretty tragic. I used to be really pathetic, but I overcame my struggles, and so hopefully you guys can take from my story, my journey, and implement that into your life and just see how I evolved as a person because I used to be so lost with girls. I didn't have a clue. And I didn't really have any strong role models to learn from growing up. Like, my dad provided me almost every opportunity that I had growing up, but he didn't teach me anything. Like he gave me the internet, he gave me access to books. Like he always like he made sure I went to good schools, but um when it came down to like the nitty gritty thing, like how to stand up for yourself, how to build your own, how to network with people, how to build up your confidence, all that stuff. Not much help. Like the dude didn't even teach me how to use soap. Like I was the stinky kid in middle school for a while, and so shout out dad, I love you, but I don't know, man. Like no one was there to teach me this stuff. But but don't worry because you guys won't have to go through what I went through. Growing up, I was a real passive kid. I was pretty shy and worried about what people think. Like, the popular guys in school, or maybe you work with them or whatever, you know how they just seem to always be good looking naturally, like without trying. And, they just always seem to be happy and, easily making friends without trying. They're probably good at stuff too. Well, that is the opposite of me. I sucked in almost everything. I didn't have good grades growing up. I didn't have cool friends growing up. Like how do you look at a kid and tell him, "Hey man, you're just trash." But that was me, unfortunately. Blooming pretty late. Mainly played video games and watched TV. I didn't really have friends over or anything like that. I did some sports, but tennis is tennis. Like, how hardcore can tennis be? Uh, and here's the thing that always got me is that I loved girls. I always thought girls were so fun and pretty and cool, and like all my life I just wanted girls to like me, and they hated me. They despised me. I'd either creep them out, or I'd like stutter and be weird or whatever. They hated me for so long, and so it took me a while to sort of come into my own and not like freak out when I was around a girl. But anyway, fast forward until um, sophomore year of high school, or in between sophomore and junior years in the summer, I finally figured out how to get rid of my acne with acne cream. And then I also got my braces off. And so that was like life changing for me. For me, like I had always been acting lame and I was really ugly. And so now is kind of coming into my looks, and that, like the looks thing was actually affecting me way more than it should have been. And unfortunately, especially when you're an insecure 16-year-old, you're very, very easily affected by stuff like that. But so, yeah, I started kind of coming into my own a little bit. And I got my first girlfriend, and I had no idea how to keep her though. I had no idea how to keep her attracted. It was like finally somebody liked me and was into me after, like a decade and a half of just being unworthy and unwanted in almost every way, having very few friends, just mainly playing video games and watching TV and doing school because your parents tell you to. And so I finally had this girl that liked me, and I just wanted to completely bottle her up. I was absolutely obsessed with her. And and unfortunately, when a girl feels that, and you're not the real deal, some you're not a cool guy, unfortunately she feels that as you not having any other options and you being pathetic. And so because the girl's, she's probably just thinking, hey, I'm really not that big a deal. I don't know why you think I'm like fucking Jesus. But anyway, she ended up hooking up with some other dude and telling me, oh, it's not you, it's me. I just feel like I need to be single right now, which I don't know. If you guys ever get the it's not you, it's me, that's the translation for, hey, you suck, but I'm too nice to hurt your feelings because I don't want to tell you the truth about what's wrong with you. I just want to be non-confrontational and, move on because, girls are, unfortunately, girls won't tell you what's wrong with you. You kind of have to read in between the lines and figure out what's going on. So that sucked, I had my first girlfriend and, like, I was, like, addicted to her, probably, like, the first purest love, but I kind of just kept treading on. It was like a free trial, except for inevitable thoughts of suicide and depression came after being told that things were over out of the blue through a text message. But anyway, so fast forward another year and a half, I finally met another girl. She was equally hot and fun, probably more fun. And again, no idea how to keep her. Like a just massive scarcity, massive neediness. Really didn't think about what was emotionally relevant to her. And I remember I was on the balcony with my boy, with my we'll call him Jim, and I was folding laundry, and at school I went to boarding school, and so at school we had this church, and I just remember folding laundry and I see her go out of the church with another dude, leaving the church at like 9 p.m. And so we had to be in the dorms by 8. So she snuck out to hook up with this dude in the church. And, we just started clapping, and, I tried to play it off like it didn't affect me, but damn, that hurt. And so, she obviously ended up leaving me for this dude. That was a freshman too. He was a freshman. And so that really sucked. Like having my girl get stolen from a dude that was 2 years younger than me. And so that's when I started to discover self-development. I kind of started seeking it out and just workout advice too, because I was just thinking, okay, something must be going on, like both my girlfriends just lost attraction and left me for another dude. And I just started to wonder, like, okay, well, what's better about this freshman guy? Like, this girl has options. Why is she choosing him over me? And like, I hadn't really come into it yet. I was still like in this mode where I thought, okay, I need to be the provider male. I need to get a job. I need to get an education. Like that's kind of the reason why I pushed myself so hard to get into my boarding school, because it was a good school. It was a hard school to get into. But yeah, so I started working out and everything, and I'll show you guys a picture if you guys want. Like I started to get ripped, but got injured later, and we'll talk about that soon. But then, so while I was kind of dealing with that breakup and just like working out and exercising and stuff, this happened. So I played World of Warcraft a lot, and it turned out the popular kids in high school, they did too. But they weren't hardcore at it like me. Like I played WoW because I didn't have anything else better to do. They kind of just did it for fun, like whimsically. But anyway, that's how I got to know them for a bit, but I was never really one of them. I was kind of like a puppy that followed them around. And yeah, like we'd still hang out, when you go to boarding school, you can't really avoid people or get away from people. But it wasn't like they were inviting me to things. And, you know, I kind of thought I was in with them for a while. I thought I was cool. Oh, all this, back when I used to give a fuck what people think. Oh, am I cool? But this is what happened is they had these, so one of them ordered these masks, and like the V for Vendetta masks. One of them ordered that, or had ordered those masks. They ordered a bunch for them to take pictures with. And so I just remember being with them, and they were gonna they were just gonna like go to this dance or whatever and wear the masks. And I remember just thinking, or no, sorry, I didn't think. I remember asking, "Oh, hey, did you get a mask for me?" And them just being like, "Oh no, sorry, man, we didn't get you one." And then like they just continued on with the night, like they were taking photos, they're having fun or whatever. And like, hey, they're all, I got nothing against them, no skin off my dick. Like I was kind of just like intruding, but it's boarding school, so it's much easier to just be friendly than to like be real with people. Like, hey, can you get the fuck away? I don't know, but who? Nah, I don't think I don't think they thought that about me, but I definitely wasn't in the loop. All right, that's the point of this. And so, it wasn't like, oh, you didn't give me a mask. Oh, you'll rue the day for that. It's not that vibe, but that was just when I finally had it very clearly in my face. Hey, we didn't include you. And so that's when I started to realize, whoa, I'm actually not one of them. I actually don't really have any friends. Like I've never had like a tight group of friends like my entire life. And just when I started to think, oh, hey, I have cool friends, that kind of shattered. So here I was, sort of starting to realize, whoa, I'm not really accepted anywhere in this community. A girl left me for a freshman. And I had been working out and getting into self-development and like improving myself and stuff. And then this happened. I hurt my back playing tennis. And that was probably one of the worst things that happened to me. I couldn't lift anymore. It wasn't like an accident or anything, but I just messed it up the wrong way, and so I developed this like chronic back pain. And if I ran, if I lifted, if I played tennis, any type of impact, if I did any of that, it would flare up really badly. And so, no friends, no real plans. I couldn't work out anymore. I couldn't play any more sports. I couldn't really even like run around, like even walking hurt at this point. So I just dove straight into World of Warcraft at that time, and I just played nonstop for a while. And like it was like I remember like going home after school, and this is my routine, is I would just go drive to golden chick and just buy like 30 chicken tenders and just eat those while playing WoW is so disgusting and pathetic. And I don't know, it's not that World of Warcraft or video games in general are bad. Like I think it's fine to relax and, you know, hang out, enjoy yourself. But when you do it because it's all you have, like when you do it to escape, you know, when you don't do it as an option, that's when all of the cons really start to build up and affect your life. And so by this point, you know, I'm not going outside. I'm not really trying new things. I'm not expanding my mind. I was becoming like very sheltered, very anxious of what people thought of me. Very passive. I was really just like crawling into my shell. And so while I'm going through all of this depression and all of this negativity and like I'm crippled, like basically probably one of the lowest points in my life, I meet this girl up on Tinder and we click for whatever reason. She wants to hang out with me. And let me just say this, okay? If a girl takes you when you're at your worst, you know, when you're thinking about ending it, you know, when like literally one of the lowest points in my life, probably up until this point, the lowest point in my life, second lowest point in my total life. But so when a girl takes you under that, there's probably a reason why she's doing it. There's probably something wrong with her. But we'll get into that. Anyway, though, and so she ended up being my girlfriend. I was still needy as hell. I was even more needy, you know, like I didn't think I was worth anything at this point. I was like I thought that I was gonna keep getting worse and that I was gonna be in a wheelchair in the next few years. But anyway, what I was getting at is that, you know, dating is like an economy and people are always going to choose the best mate that they can get. And so what I was getting at is, you know, if I thought it was flattering at the time, oh wow, like I'm so broken and she chose me. But the reality was, you know, if that's going on, there's probably something else wrong there. And unfortunately there was. I think that her past boyfriend really neglected her and treated her like really horribly, and so she just wanted like something that would cling on to her and just give her some nourishment that she never had. And so, you know, I was more than willing to oblige her. I was just like completely obsessed that someone would love me or like me again. And so we got to do that for a while. I ended up starting college, and so I had my own apartment. I was doing school, and my back was starting to get better too, so that was cool. But still, like I had like all this excuse, like to not go out, you know, because of that, and so I'm also pretty naturally introverted, and I just ended up just doing school, video games or TV, and my girlfriend. That was my life. And it was like I'd just been dreaming of that all my life. Is, you know, most guys, they have to work until they're like 26 to kind of get that together, but because I was in college, I was able to kind of get it all together just by default, just because, you know, I had the girl, I had the apartment for college, and I had a bunch of free time because being a freshman at the college that I was going to was really, really easy. So, you know, I kind of got to experience like all that sweetness for a while. And, you know, for whatever reason, she was really into my clinginess. Like it was pathetic clinginess. Like clinginess is people think that, oh, like, no, you should be nice, you should be needy, all that. That's not what attracts a girl, though. Like, girls always say, oh, I want a nice guy to do this and that for me and take me on dates and write me poems and, you know, send me good morning texts and all that. And they want that, but it's from a guy that they're already attracted to. And that's what gets misconstrued so much, is that people don't realize that it's not those things that attract a girl. It's actually more like you and your life and like your personality that attract the girl. But we'll get into that later. The point though is that I didn't really have anything cool about me going on. I just stayed inside and, hoped that my girlfriend would bless me with her presence, like whenever she would. And when she wasn't there, I just played games, and I like had straight A's and did school probably like only a few hours a week. It was ridiculous how easy it was. And so that went on for a little while, I learned there's a statistic about how men get beat up by their girls more. Like men are attacked by women more than women are attacked by men. And, there's lots of reasons of why, but I would say that I relate to that after this one. She would get mad, and she wasn't afraid to hit me. She didn't give a fuck. Girls can sense neediness. They can sense when you need them to be happy, and that was my case. And so if she didn't like something, she would just throw a fit, and I'd just be like, baby, please don't be mad. I'll do whatever you want. And that led to me doing a lot of bullshit that I thought that I had to do, because that's what love is, right? You make your girl happy, right? That's what I'd been told all my life. Just be nice and tolerant, and the world will give back. And it's not that you shouldn't be nice, you should, but if you think about it, like, being nice actually isn't that expensive. Anybody can drive a girl around, or anybody can drive someone to work, or anybody can pick up groceries. Anybody can buy someone a drink or a dinner. It's really not that expensive. The real value comes from solving the problems that no one else can. And we'll talk about value later in the Manly Method. But the point is that I was being nice in all these ways that people had told me to, and I would never argue. I was very non-confrontational. I was very just, okay, like, let's just calm down. Like, my dad used to yell at me a lot, and so I kind of just got it through my mind up until this point in my life. Okay, if I'm not confrontational, then that will diffuse things, because I just hated being yelled at. I hated conflict. I was so deathly afraid of it. I always felt like, if someone's upset at me, then I'm doing something wrong. Like, it's my fault. And so because I was so desperate, so lacking in abundance with girls, this girl would just walk over me and I would take it, because I was deathly afraid of being left alone. I was so scared of it, because like, after every time a girl had left me, it was a few years before I got my next like romantic relationship. Like, I didn't want to let go of that at all. I didn't want to get mad and potentially risk it. So I was just like, okay, you're mad, let's figure out how to make you happy. I'll do anything you want. And that's how, like, I really was needy. That's how badly I needed a girlfriend, just to make me happy at this point in my life. And that's what I mean by I think this girl was bad news for me, because, baby, if you're out there and you're listening, hey, I still got you. If you ever need me, I got you. I got all my girls. They taught me so much. But what I'm getting at is like, I literally depended on her for happiness. Think about it. Like, I had just been through like this really low point where I had nothing, just like playing video games, no friends. I can't go out. Like, and this girl like came into my life, and she was providing value. It's not like she was just being a jerk. Like, we're having good times together too. Like, she's sleeping over and everything. Like, I'm finally getting to, like have some stable, like, well, it was stable at first, like some stable love in my life and just a stable bond too. Like she was like, she's a friend and like a girlfriend. And so I was like, there was no way I could walk away at this point. I was so afraid. And so, she knew that, and, I was the bitch. She definitely wore the pants, because it's funny how that lack of abundance really affected my decisions. It really affected just like what I was willing to tolerate, because I was so, and when you're really depressed, when your self-esteem is low too, like you don't even think you can go out there and change, or you don't think you can go find someone better anyway. So staying from a place of fear, from a place of scarcity, which is very, very bad. It draws a lot of negativity into your life because of that. And so that this girl definitely does not respect me in any way after months and months of doing this little routine where I get shit on by her. And so, I eventually check her phone, and that she's cheating. So by this time, my third girlfriend was cheating on me, and I was hurt. I remember like my heart started racing, and but as I kept reading the words and the text and how she was talking to this guy, and I couldn't believe how like my sweet, lovely girl was, losing attraction to me again. And I thought about it for a while, and I confronted her and told her to stop. And the thing was, though, is that I was nowhere close to being able to leave this girl. And so there were pretty much no consequences for her. Like, I didn't stop talking to her. Nothing. Like, I just waited like a couple days to sort it through, and then I was like, well, I kind of want to hang out with my girlfriend right now, and because I didn't have anything else to replace her with. I didn't have anything else to fill the void with. And so there was, at this point, like I was thinking, I can't leave her, she's my girl, and that's kind of what I've been told all my life, like, hey, you're supposed to sacrifice for your love, it's supposed to be hard. You're supposed to figure it out. You're supposed to keep trying. And in reality, I was just taking the easier way out, because in that moment, I knew that, leaving her was going to hurt way more than just trying to repair it and forgive her. And so, there were no consequences, and, that went on for a while. Imagine if you're the girl, though. You treat your dude like absolute trash. He can't replace you. There's all these things. Like, he's just playing games in his room all day when you're not there. Like, you're not doing anything. Like, it's not like I'm not painting myself like, oh, I was such like a great thing to be with. I was fucking trash at this point in my life. Garbage. Absolute garbage. Like I look at my past self, and I'm like, well, of course you got treated that way. Like, of course you did. It's not like you're perfect, like it's pretty slob too. But anyway, so she inevitably ended up losing attraction to the point where, she just thought, oh my God, like, you're such a waste of, she probably thought like, man, you're such a waste of time. Like, why would I ever even want to be around you anymore? You're so fucking pathetic. Like, literally, you get shit on like this. Like imagine what she's thinking in the real world. Imagine what she's thinking. Like, man, how's this dude gonna be able to fight for us? How's he gonna be able to solve our problems? The dude can't even stand up to himself when all this shitty things happen, which is really weird, because she's the one that did do the things. It's weird how, like, girls will test your boundaries, and if they don't get put in their place, if they do all this bullshit behavior, then they'll think less of you. Isn't that weird how they do it and then they think, oh, it's kind of mind-boggling. But anyway, so she ended up losing attraction, and she left me eventually for her 30-year-old manager. And that's when I fucking lost it. That's when literally my life changed. Cause like, just think about it, guys. I had been the nice, tolerant guy, like trying, like I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I didn't know that, hey, I'm not really having much ambition. Just yeah, like I'm on track to be a geologist at school, but like nothing really crazy at this point. But like, let's be honest, like I was just going to school because I thought people wanted me to do it, and like I just wanted to play games. Like that's all I was doing. I was totally a boy. And so her manager, who can have more fun than me, who's willing to go out with her, willing to like go have fun, like meet people, like be wild, like all that stuff. Like he can run. He has a functioning back. All that. So this dude though, he's her manager though. He's making probably like 11 an hour or some shit like that. He's 30. But because he's able to just like have fun, and I'm not, he ends up taking my girl, even though like on paper I'm good. On paper I have internships. I had really great grades. Like on paper I was great. I was the great, nice, white provider male that I had only dreamed of becoming. And I finally got a taste of that, being able to play house with my girlfriend and having the apartment and everything for a while. But yeah, so that I was getting walked over, she left, and I just remember going to Subway, getting a meatball marinara, and just thinking, this is going to fucking suck. This is going to suck. And this was the worst depression I've ever gone through in my life. I seriously thought about killing myself. I was thinking like, my life is such a dead end. I'm going to college for this degree that I don't really even care about. I don't really even like it. Like I don't have any serious friends. Like I put all my time into my girlfriend. I thought, oh, like my girlfriend wants to spend more time with me. Why not? Like why? Like I had nothing else. It was like she left such a big hole in my life when she left. And it was just so mind-boggling to me because I had been the nice guy that was always there for her, and I had tolerated everything. I had put up with all the bullshit, all her arguments, all her yelling at me, all of that, and like at the end of it all, she ended up leaving. And I would say if I didn't have, funny enough how video games caused all these problems for me in my life, but I would say if I didn't have video games in that moment to really escape into, and I mean I really escaped into it. Like I wasn't talking to anybody. I hated life. I couldn't work out at this point, or I mean I kind of could. It was kind of getting better, but not really. And so if I didn't have video games though, I probably would have turned to drugs or some other bullshit. Like people talk about how they think, oh, I could never end up homeless. I could never end up on drugs. I could never, end up stealing or doing crime or whatever. I totally see how people fall into that. You're very influenced by your environment and what's going on. And so you're, to think that like people see like these school shooters or whatever and think, oh, I could never do that. People have no idea how much they can change under the right circumstances. And so I just dived into video games and depression for a while, and it really fucked with me for a while. And this was like the lowest point of my life. Like I was seriously thinking about killing myself, seriously, like hardcore, because apparently I just suck at everything and I really just went into myself for months and months and months. Longest worst depression of my life. And while we're on the subject of this, guys, if you are feeling down, go get help. I was terrified of telling people because I thought, there's all this stigma going on, and I was worried that if I ever went, then they were going to like put me in some kind of psych ward or something like that. I don't know, that's not the reality at all, though. They're there to help. But yeah, suicide's never the answer. I actually never ended up going. I ended up just getting over it on my own, but I really regret not going. I wish that I had, because they could have helped me out a lot and I wouldn't have struggled as much. But anyway, rock bottom, girl left me. And here's my deal, is that while I do get depressed, I'm really good at turning that emotional pain into fuel. And so, while I was still wallowing and I was still playing video games to kind of satisfy myself in my free time, I also started getting really into the content about girls and just like this whole all of these forums about advice for getting girls for guys, and I checked it all out. It was like my new hobby. Like that's basically what I ended up replacing my girlfriend with, is just watching this content, reading articles, and I learned everything there was to learn about girls during this depression. I was like a huge lurker, and like I only really went out with I only really went out with girls that like I ran into going to class and stuff. I wasn't going out as much as I should have been. I probably wouldn't have had much fun anyway, but it was like I ended up replacing my girlfriend with the solution to her problem, and I was done. I was so fucking done at this point. Every girl that I had been with had cheated on me and left me. Every girl that I'd been with lost attraction to me. And like I couldn't get a girl to save my life. Like guys, I'm not even telling you about all the times that like I just creeped out girls, or I just or like like I went up and said hi to a girl and she was like, "Ew, get the fuck away from me," I'm not even going over that. Like I'm just talking about my girlfriends and how they were just disgusted with me as a person, and it was because I didn't have a fucking clue with what to do with how to maintain them. And I'll teach you guys about that in the Manly Method. But so I just started going ham, learning everything there was to know. And I'm slowly building my confidence back up. I started working out again. It's like I was still depressed, but it felt really good to make steps towards getting better. Like it made me feel really good to know that I was getting just a little bit better every day, just coming back a little bit better. And so it felt like crawling out of a pit, but I'm just slowly going. And like I started to build my confidence back, like gradually. I started to really get rid of my social anxiety. That was the main thing that I was scared of. Like I couldn't go out in public and like not give a fuck like I do now. I had to really focus on cultivating that and thinking about like, okay, well, why do I care if what people think? Why do I care what random people that I'm never gonna see again think? What? I think for me at least, it traveled back to I had really low self-esteem, and I didn't think that I was a good deal, and I just had this preconceived notion that okay, like I'm going to be bothering someone, like real pessimistic, and so I wasn't seeing all the potential for all the fun that I could be giving other people, which is how I see it now. And so just like gradually like start going like getting better, like, you know, meeting more girls and stuff, you know, working out. And then I end up going to this self-development group for fun, and I meet some pretty cool dudes. And then we just started going out for fun at night. And that's when things changed, is when we started going out at night, because that's when like so many people are out. You get to do so many more wild things and so many crazy things. Like that's why all my videos are at night, guys. It's because of the environment. Like it's just way more fun for me to film in. It's way cooler than like going up on the street and like someone's like walking to work or whatever, you know. They're probably thinking like, oh man, I hate my life, oh man, like why do I have to do this? And then I come along. It's just a different vibe. So that's when things like really started to change, and I started to get really good with girls. And I remember uninstalling World of Warcraft, just saying, you know what, I'm fucking done with you. And it was like I uninstalled it knowing that I wasn't gonna come back to it too, because I had tried to quit and whatever. I uninstalled it from a place of abundance, from a place of I'm not uninstalling this because I think like, oh man, like I need to get rid of this, like it's a bad habit. I uninstalled it because I was like, dude, like this is like I have better things to do. Like there are more fun things to do. That's the realm that I was starting to realize, is I was starting to figure out, whoa, like all this stuff, all this like all this stuff about girls, it's like social freedom. And it was super liberating, and I could like go out and function in society finally. I had never been able to go out and have fun in my life, and now I could with strangers too. That was the craziest part, you know. It's not like I even had to like build up a friendship or whatever, or like it, you know, it's not even like I had to do like some weird dance with like friends of a friends to find girls or whatever. Now like I could just go out and have fun. And so, you know, like we keep going out, we keep having fun, we keep doing crazy stuff. That's not to underplay though how hard it was to get out there though. Like overcoming approach anxiety, overcoming like fear of rejection, overcoming just social anxiety in general, like figuring out how to have fun with it. That was the hardest thing for me. And you know, if you're watching this, you know, you're about to start, like that'll probably be the hardest thing for you, is figuring out how to have fun with it, is getting to that point where you go from just sucking to going to where you have fun. That'll probably be the hardest point. But once you get to it, it's like an upward spiral that doesn't stop. Like it literally can't stop. It can't. It's such a great time. And this is coming from someone who thought that he was a shy World of Warcraft addict his entire life. Like I thought my entire life, oh, you know, like I'm just not meant to go outside and have fun. I'm just not meant. That's just not my area, you know. That's just not where I like to have fun. And I don't know. I think that's completely wrong. It's just I just didn't click naturally with me. I didn't you know, like when you're just like a confident, happy, outgoing guy, so many problems just get solved for you naturally. And so I think not being that, it really made being in social environments like that really hard for me at first. But once I was able to kind of figure it out and just like let go, not give a fuck, and like have fun, that's when it just skyrocketed, and it was so great. And I remember this specific moment where I met this insanely hot girl, and our first date was so fun, and everything just clicked, and she loved my humor and I loved hers. And I was finally coming from this place in my life of abundance. Like it's not like I wanted to just like cling onto this girl and just take and just latch onto her for my own happiness. Like it was like a new me. Like I was a completely different person in that night, in that moment. And I just remember after like having a great time hooking up with her and just like so much fun. Like it was ridiculous how much fun that we had. I just remember thinking about how like, whoa, this was all worth it. Like all the rejection, all of the approaches, like all the like figuring out the kinks of like how I work and what I need to work on, and how other people take me, and you know what's emotionally relevant to girls and how to provide that and all of that. And I was just in love with finally being able to be myself and have fun, and just like this new piece of life that I had been missing out on this entire time. And most guys miss out on it too. Most guys, you know, they think, oh, I need to just like work hard and, you know, get a stable job, and then I'll be able to do all that stuff when I'm like older and like stuff is all grounded and everything. And you know, the truth is like there's nothing stopping you right now. It's all in your mind. And you know, for years and years I was easily manipulated by girls, and I was needy and lacking abundance. But you shouldn't have any issues at all as long as you know what you're doing. And don't worry, because it'll all be in the Manly Method. But yeah, guys, that's it. That's my story. I hope that knowing about all of my struggles and everything I went through just shows you how much you really can change as a person. I look back at myself years ago and I am completely a different person. I completely changed myself and my perception of life and how I let people treat me, how I interact with people, how I have fun, how everything about me. I completely changed for the better. And I just want to let you know that the power's in your hand too. You don't have to be a depressed nerd stuck in the closet like I was. Like you can not trying to make a gay reference, but the point is that you can change if you want to. You just have to be willing to. And you know, that's the question is, do you really want to or not? And you know, I guess we'll see. But anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching, and get ready for the Manly Method, because this is gonna be a banger. This is gonna change your life. That's it. Peace.